Welcome to the Kamaka Ice Lake Lodge. A simple structure, but one I've been working on for quite a while to get just right. It's not meant to be a base of operations, but more a cozy and comfortable stopover point whenever I want to come up here and see how my tames are doing and see if the population up here is expanding as I would prefer. Of course, the newest addition to my herd are the mammoths, which I think turned out fairly nicely. Inside I've kept things purposefully very open and spacious with an airy atmosphere. Nice modern furnishings, nice carpeting on the floor, hardwood floors by the way, and an excellent view. And that's really what this lodge is all about. A safe place to come inside, get warm. I've got plenty of heating and air conditioning units in here to keep everything nice and toasty no matter how cold it gets outside. There's storage. We've got a smoker here for making beef jerky if necessary. I kind of thought that aquarium was fitting with the icy looking jellyfish in there. And a fully equipped kitchen over here. And altogether, I think that really that's everything that someone would need if they're going to stop up here for a quick stay over at the lodge. Whether to look over the breeding stock, make sure everything's going okay with this particular habitat, or if used as an icy, brisk winter vacation area, if you will. I mean, after all, the holidays are coming up, so one does need to be prepared, and I had to have someplace fitting to put my Christmas tree. Now, that mammoth out there is the only mammoth that has managed to make it to adulthood up here. This place is surprisingly deadly. It has Eutyranus and Tyrannosaurus rex that spawn, packs of saber-tooth, large packs of hyenas, wolves, you name it, it can spawn up here, and does spawn up here. At the moment, we don't have anything dangerous, but that will probably change here shortly. That guy over there is pretty tough. He's managed to hold his own. There have been several generations of mammoths born here already. He's the only one that's made it so far. And partially because I've also brought up these Dimorphodons. Just one set, and they've been steadily pumping out youngsters, so there are a few here and there, just enough to where one or two will usually come to the aid of that mammoth over there and tip the battle in his favor. Although it's been pretty close from time to time. I'm not rushing the breeding cycle up here very much. I don't want to clutter this area up near as much as I have some of the other habitats. I kind of want to keep it pristine with little spots of color here and there. But I think, if space allows, I'm going to introduce a large variety of creatures up here. It seems ideal for certain creatures that you might not necessarily want to breed anywhere else other than a kind of a cold environment, but I don't want to duplicate the animal life that already breeds here. Like Ankies. I don't want to bring Ankies up here. Packies breed here too. I don't necessarily want to introduce Packies. I already have mutated Packies bred up. I could easily introduce them, but I kind of want to go with some new and different stuff. The Dimetrodon I just brought in basically for short-term security and to give these babies an edge in survival in a very dangerous location. I did bring up some penguins, but the plan was I was going to bring some red penguins up here and just have red penguins breed only in this area, but the ice flows out in the lake. Let me take off here and I'll show you. Let me shut the door here. The ice flows out in the lake made that a little bit problematic. I'm not going to breed those Archaeopteryx. They're just there for company and decoration. You see all these ice flows out here? That is a habitat that, while it looks visually interesting and you would think would be great for penguins to go frolicking in, unfortunately, they have a tendency to get stuck. And one thing that I have learned the hard way, if you're going to let penguins loose in the wild to breed, and establish a large population, you do not want any areas around where they can easily get stuck and lodged under something, because then they get trapped, and sooner or later you'll get a male and female next to each other, and when your breeding rates are amped up to do mass breedings like I do, that means you will have a population explosion somewhere under the ice or under the snowy ground if they get forced under there because they got stuck and got forced under the grid, and that is bad news. You'll have thousands of little boogers under there, and your frame rates will drop to virtually zero. So, I'm going to hold off on penguins up here. I hate that. I was also thinking of breeding beavers and otters up here. But unfortunately, this water gets a little bit on the deep side. Not real deep, but, well, I don't know, maybe 10 meters or so, but more than deep enough for otters and beavers to do the thing that tamed otters and beavers always do when set on wander and turned loose in deepish water. They swim as fast as they can in tight little circles and don't go anywhere. And that drives me crazy. I really wish Wildcard would fix that. I know it's a extremely low priority adjustment to make to a creature's AI, but I would love to see little otters running all over this snow. That would be so cute, but they wouldn't do it. Well, they'd run around for a while. Eventually they'd end up in the lake, and you'd see them right down there swimming in tight little circles, contorting themselves just as tightly as they can, and that's not cute. It almost looks painful, and I'm not going to do that to them. I'll have to keep my eyes peeled for an environment where they can be near water, perhaps extremely shallow water, but not deep enough for them to swim, which is going to be a trick because they're not very tall. Oh, the trials and tribulations of setting up a habitat. And meanwhile, back inside the lodge here, I had considered concentrated. No, I didn't do any concentrating. I had considered putting like a loft level in here. And I guess I might still do it, but actually I kind of like the more open and arched setup that we have here. The stained glass ceiling, I think, gives it kind of a nice and, well, more or less tranquil feel. The view is magnificent. If I didn't show you already, just so that you're oriented, from the lodge itself, there is the blue obelisk, and there is Viking Bay. And there are the Badlands down at the base of the cliff far below. There's actually a couple of series of cliffs going down. Fortunately, they're steep enough that critters, if they do fall off, they go all the way down. They don't get stuck halfway and forced under the grid. At least they haven't yet. Knock on wood. And really, all in all, the view is pretty nice from up here. So, I think it's kind of neat. But I'm not going to spend a lot of time looking in that direction. Most of my time will be spent here looking toward the lake and the habitat itself. Fortunately, I thought ahead. These turrets are set to ignore the more benign wildlife like the penguins and the Yankees and a few of the others that wander by from time to time. I got tired of seeing roasted Pachycephalosauruses outside. But of course, when saber-tooths come to call and wolves and whatnot, they'll protect me. So, and it kind of warms things up around here, which is kind of nice too. I keep a big stock of marshmallows over there in the storage hamper. Now the live breeding area here is big enough that it should be able to handle just about anything that I need to pack in here, and yet I can still erect walls in different patterns if I need to for smaller stuff also. And it has gates all the way around, so it's pretty flexible. We'll have to see what we put on the breeding roster next. I have a couple of ideas for creatures that would be unique to this area, that would make sense to raise in this area, not necessarily being really common to the area. One of them's an egg layer, and well, the egg layer is actually a bit more common, but it's something that we need to be raising anyway. and the other one's a live bear, which live bears are difficult to do because they have that whole gestation thing going on. Egg layers will lay an egg and then boom, they can get pregnant again and pump out more eggs very quickly and rapidly. But live bears have that whole gestation period they have to go through before they mate again. And that really slows down creating a video and doing mass breeding. So I think the next creature that we breed after the mammoths here are going to be an egg layer, and then maybe we'll alternate between that and live bears, which tend to go real well up here in this snowy area. And again, I apologize for not showing you the mammoth breeding, but it took so long to do while I was building this at the same time because bigger animals just take longer. I wasn't going to subject you to that, so I wanted to focus on the lodge this time around and just show you the end results of what happened with the mammoths. I hope you don't mind. So that's it. The Kamaka Lake Lodge. Well, more precisely, the Kamaka Ice Lake Lodge. I like it. I think it's going to be an interesting base of operations, and we'll probably do a couple of breeding episodes from up here before all is said and done. And we may spruce up the area a bit. There are some interesting areas directly adjacent to it, the ice cave over here, and, well, we'll get into all that when the time comes. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the episode, please remember to give it a like, and perhaps even subscribe if you haven't done that already, and share it with your friends. Appreciate your watching, and until I see you again, good hunting.